So Rick's been wired up. Now we want to take a look at actually how this exercise should be done. That is to maximize muscle work of the pecs, because that's really why you're doing this exercise. Everything else is incidental. Let's start with the setup. Rick should have his feet either up or down depending on where his low back is more comfortable. This is completely user dependent. So Rick, put your feet on the floor. Is that more or less comfortable?
Less comfortable.
So we'll put his feet up on the bench. That's more comfortable.
Yes.
Okay, so once the low back's comfortable, then he's going to pull the belly in and not move his pelvis. So now he's all ready to go with respect to the lower body. Now we got to address the upper body. Starting position for the upper body is the dumbbells are apart just a little bit. He's going to have tension on his chest now because the weight is outside the shoulder. When the weight is outside the shoulder, the pecs already have to work to try and support the weight. When he comes in here, they just kind of relax because there's no torque at the shoulder. This is what you want. Now bend the elbows just a little bit. Now that's the starting position here. Also with his grip. The wrist is completely neutral. So now he's all set to go. Is your neck comfortable?
Absolutely.
So the neck's comfortable. He's all set. Now the first motion is the elbows just going straight out. Down and then up to, good. And he's keeping his wrists straight. And he's focusing on using his chest. Remember, we're using the chest, but also anterior deltoid, or the front part of your shoulder, the triceps, some forearms, even the neck, because Rick's doing a great job of keeping his head completely still. So the orthopedics, specifically, of the flat bench dumbbell press that you just saw Rick do, let's take a look at him. What I want you to notice is, first of all, look at the position of the humerus bone, which is here. It's going straight out. And that's beautiful when you're doing a bench press or any kind of chest work, because the pec muscles, your chest muscles, they originate here in the sternum and then they come out and they attach to the humerus out here. With the humerus going straight out like that, it makes the pecs do a lot of work to overcome that force. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I'm going to zip around from behind so you can really see. Flip them around this way a little. Look at that. This is the top of his head. So then as he comes down, look at how close to 90 degrees that is. That's a big deal. Why? Concept of torque. Torque just means a rotational force, but here's the axis here, which is your shoulder. The force about an axis here at the shoulder depends on how far away you apply the force and how close it is to 90 degrees. In other words, if Rick buckled his elbow more in here, that is less than 90 degrees at the elbow. So you have less torque at the shoulder. So now if you want to lift more weight, whether it's with dumbbells or a bar, this is how you're going to do it. But remember, this really doesn't train the pecs much. So from the standpoint of fitness, I don't recommend doing it this way because you really miss out on training a larger muscle group, that being your chest. Look at the elbows drop down towards the sides. There they go. They drop downward. And this is what you see a lot in gyms, especially with guys that are trying to lift way too much weight. The elbows will drop down to the sides. That will decrease the torque at the shoulder that the pecs are responsible for overcoming. So keeping the elbows down at the sides will really enable you to lift more weight because the torque at the shoulder is less relative to the pecs, but it's really not going to do much for your fitness level as far as developing your pecs. If I look from the side as well, he's also stacking the deck in his favor with the wrist extension. Look at how his wrists are cocked back that way. That is just going to make it so you're basically working the shoulders and the triceps. You can lift a lot of weight that way. But mechanically, you're not doing hardly any work for the pecs, which kind of defeats the purpose. So remember, when it comes to flat bench dumbbell press, elbows out, wrists straight, don't arch your back, focus on the pecs. You'll like what happens. You can see that Rick is keeping his wrists pretty straight, which means that now the elbow is being pushed straight down and back, and the pecs overcome that. Now, to make this exercise easier, as I kind of alluded to earlier, is the wrist will go into extension, not go and get into extension, and coupled with that, the elbows will drop down close to the body, and now come on down. That's a lot easier. That takes the pressure or the tension almost completely off the chest. That's actually a powerlifting move. So if you're in the mood to impress others with how much weight you can lift, not necessarily how smart you are, but with how much weight you can lift, you're gonna lift with the wrists in extension and drop the elbows down, and you can lift much more weight and be a bigger man. Yeah, that's good. And then when you get done, you'll throw the weights down into your lap and sit up at the same time. That was well done.